EU is such a wild card. It is really confusing. I have no idea what they're up to. What I
Yeah.
do know is they're going to come out with a CBDC, and that is
Mm.
that they obviously don't want you using Bitcoin. So there's kind of a closing window where you can kind of escape that surveillance with Bitcoin. I don't think, and I hope not, that it would become illegal at some point. I think that would be really dumb, and I think EU politicians still have enough reason, like reason and like reasonable thinking to
Mhm.
see that that would be a very bad move from a game theory perspective. But I think the EU is going to be much slower in adopting Bitcoin than other regions. So
Mhm.
generally, Bitcoin is going to be much faster, further reaching and faster adopted in areas like Latin America, like El Salvador, where
Mhm.
the openness to it is much more open because you've seen the arbitrariness of fiat money. We are very spoiled in Europe with our currencies, that we have this naive trust in the central bank, which is fading now, but still, it's this thinking is very ingrained in us. So the openness to something like Bitcoin is is much less present. So I think it's going to be slower. I think it's still going to be there just because of the economic incentives of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of startups that are lobbying with the governments in the region to make them understand Bitcoin and to help them set the regulations and legislations accordingly. It's gonna be more restrictive. It's gonna be more controlling. There's gonna be more surveillance, and it's not gonna make sense. But I think it's gonna stay around.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna stay around anyway. But I think the EU is gonna have to accept it in some shape or form if it wants to stay relevant.